The Passionate Leader, because leadership without passion is just the title.
Meeting. We got a collapse in the garage. Get the squad back equipment in here. We got an I-beam gone to a firefighter.
Get that out, urgent, transmit a second along.
This is where titles end and leadership begins. Ask yourself, what happens to a profession when we expect people to face the darkest moments of someone's life, but never teach them how to carry the weight of it? In part 2 of our conversation with Ric Wilkinson, we dive into the side of EMS most people avoid. The 19-year-old EMT delivering a death notification to Mima and Papa. The young medic trapped on a high-volume truck for years because seniority keeps him there. And the 5-year burnout cliff that drains talent before it ever matures. Ric doesn't sugarcoat it. We train people to push meds and run algorithms, but not sit with a grieving family, speak hard truths without hiding behind soft language, and recover after the kind of call that shakes your foundation. He breaks down why allowing families to witness resuscitations builds trust, lowers anger, and actually protects crews instead of exposing them. We get into the real-world issues too. Why EMS suicide rates spike in fire-based departments, how tradition sometimes replaces progress, how reimbursement models quietly shape wages, staffing, and burnout, and we close with straight practical guidance on passing that damn NREMT, as well as staying a student of the job that never stops evolving. So ask yourself, are you preparing your people for the skills on paper, but forgetting to prepare them for the moments that define who they become? Let's pick up where we left off.
Training that's 19 years old.
Yeah.
He's a high school senior that's taken it at the community college because he wants to work for the fire department.
Yup.
And he's 18. He takes his national registry test. He gets, his certification. He's all excited. And just like any new other EMT, they want to run the cool calls.
Mm-hmm.
And I get it. We all love cool calls. But he runs Mima that is deceased.
Yup.
Obvious death in the field, nothing that's viable. But he has to tell Papa that's been married to her for 50 years.
Oh.
And he's by himself. Or he's the only EMT on the scene.
Sure. Yep.
So AHA said that we don't do enough training in death notification for EMS. That was actually one of the AHA recommendations.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have to take the evidence that we're getting and adapt to it. We can't just constantly keep burning out our people, because if you've never trained a fireman how to fight a fire and you go, well, all you got to do is put that helmet on and get this hose and go on that fire and put the wet stuff on the red stuff and the fire will go out. And you go, well, in generalities, that is true, but there's a lot to it. And if you don't give the tools to the EMS providers to do it correctly or the best we can, that burns you out really fast. Don't forget the national burnout rate for EMS is 5 years.
Oh, that's disgusting.
Right. So imagine they don't even have numbers on fire.
Yeah.
They don't even have them.
That's true.
They don't even have, you never hear of a fire service going, hey, we lost 9 guys last year. They left the fire service altogether. They hated it. Now, I'm not saying people don't leave fire service to go to other things.
Yes.
But how often do you hear of 10 firefighters left this huge department because they were burned out?
That's a really good point.
The ones that do are the ones that run fire rescue and are stuck on the ambulance.
Yep. Okay.
Now what's never talked about is these very large departments that do fire rescue, ambulance, and fire. Their suicide rates are through the roof with younger paramedics because they're stuck on the ambulance due to seniority. Because say you've been on the department 25 years and you are the senior guy. So when shift bid comes up every year, you get your number 1 pick. You're like, I'm going to the slowest station, and I'm happy to be the captain, and you can all go pound salt. Where Rick's the brand new 22-year-old paramedic that has 0 seniority and is going to be stuck at the same station that's running 30 calls a shift for 10 years. And, that's a nationwide problem. So, yes, it is EMS heavy, but for our fire guys that do both, it's just as bad because they get stuck in that seniority bubble where they can't ever get out. And by the time they get out, they want to leave.
Oh, there's a lot to unpack there. That's good
I'm
quality
sorry.
stuff for no, no, no. That it is. I think let's go back real quick
Sure.
and hit on. I I will tell you. It's funny. I want to talk about some tips and tricks as far as how to pass the NREMT because
Absolutely.
it took me three swings at it. But first,
Yeah.
I want to talk about I'm not a big fan of how the testing is in our EMTs.
Okay.
But anyway, so AHA, we had to do our CPR recert, and we're doing it all online with the in-house
Yep.
um
Do heart code
in-house
and everything.
yeah.
Yep. Yep.
So I don't like what do they call it? Not predictive answers, but like depending on how you answer your
Oh, the
questions is how
adaptive.
that's the
Yep.
adaptive. So
Adaptive reasoning.
um
Yes.
up until about maybe 10 minutes ago, I had nothing but horrible things to say about the AHA because they do run that kind of and I sit there and I'm like, I don't, and you do that. Well, I feel confident. And if you do really, so of course, when I took every opportunity I could with the survey at the end of it to tell them exactly how I felt about that,
To crush them.
and yeah, right. But I gotta tell you, this stuff about death notifications, I think is enormous. I'm
Yeah.
not sure whoever was able to get on the board of, their consulting firm or whoever was
Yeah.
able to get the
Yep.
voice, but they deserve millions of dollars worth of praise because that's huge. That one of the things that we talk about a ton in the Passionate Leader is having those hard conversations and how what harder of a conversation to have than somebody having to, like you said, going in and saying, "Hey, and your loved one, there's just nothing we can do," and
Yeah.
there's different, I feel there's almost different levels of it. If it's older people, it's sort of like, well, 85
Yeah.
expected, but not. But if it's somebody who's in their, 30s, 40s, 50s and dies of a heart attack,
Yeah. So,
it's so unexpected. So now, do you have any deeper knowledge as far as what they plan on adding into for curriculum or?
well, so again, I hate to be the drum beater, but I'll give it to them. The NAEMT
Mm,
just put out a new course, almost like they knew it was coming,
yeah.
um, called Breaking Bad News.
Okay.
And
Yep.
it's a 3-hour CAPCI accredited course. It's made for all levels or no levels.
Okay.
And they made it super easy to teach. I think you can be like an NAEMT instructor in anything, they can teach it.
Mhm.
And they make it very low cost. There's no books. They
Mm.
give you all the slide deck is a minimal cost, and now you have all these
Yeah.
slides. And that is the NAEMT answer. And I've looked at it. I have it. I'm actually going to teach it tonight to a local volunteer fire service.
Oh, awesome. Okay. Yeah, yeah.
And it's one of those things where if we don't give the tools, it crushes us. Like you said, the 80-year-old
Mm.
old, okay, we don't like that we had to tell Mima that Papa's dead, but
Right.
you're like, they're 80. So in our mind, we can
Yes.
justify that down a couple notches that, okay.
Right, right, right.
But when you have to tell a 20-year-old that their 5-month-old died of possibly SIDS, I don't say SIDS, but they're dead. And I
Sure,
have to
sure.
tell a 20-year-old that their 5-month-old is dead.
Right.
That is life changing.
Mm.
That could be career ending for many
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
And they want to walk away right now.
Yeah.
Like they're ready to give you the keys and walk from the scene wherever they want to go.
Right. Yep.
And I think that if we start in initial training, even EMR, to at
Mm.
least talk about it, they don't have to have all the
Yes.
instruction that a paramedic would have to have, but an EMR understanding what death notification is. And yes, you
Yeah.
might not be the guy doing it, the girl doing it,
Right.
but understanding what's maybe preparing that family for when the EMT or the paramedic gets there to give them the full notification.
Oh, yeah.
But I think part of that is you have to really use real words. You have
Mm.
to say they're dead.
Gotcha.
They've
Yep.
died. We can't say they went to a better place.
Right.
I've actually heard people say that, and the family says, "Well, where did they go?
Which hospital are they at?
Yeah,
Yeah,
where should
exactly.
I be driving to?" And you're like, "Oh my God, wait,
Yeah.
wait, wait, no, Papa's in the living
Yikes.
room."
Yeah.
But things like that, where, like you said, those conversations are hard.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes us tear up because we know we have to go do it. But
Right.
when we tell people that's okay, it's okay to be emotional.
Right.
It's okay to give somebody a simple hug or hold their hand when you're doing that.
Mm.
That's not inappropriate.
Right.
That's okay. And it's okay for you to say, do you want to go sit by them?
Yeah.
Do
Sure.
what's helped my service in the last couple of years is that we are not allowing, but just allowing it to happen where adult CPR, 50, 60, 70, 80-year old, and the family says, can we watch? Well, in the past, we used to push everybody
Mm.
out.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
now we're getting people saying, well, can I watch? And now this is not new in the pediatric world. We've done this for years. No one's going to separate the 2-year-old from the dad.
Right. Oh yeah. Yeah.
I'm going to sit
Exactly.
right here and I'm going to be touching her hand the whole time. So
Yep.
that wasn't new for us when it came to kids. But in the last 5 years, my agency and other agencies around us have said, hey, if Papa wants to be in the room, and because the hospitals are doing it too.
Mm.
So if they arrest
Okay.
in the ER, they're like, hey, go get Papa from the weight room and ask him if he wants to be in the room. We're not making him. But so
Yeah. Yeah.
in
Yeah.
our setting in the EMS world, what that does is when we allow the family to watch, and there is a negative outcome where we cease resuscitation, they're there, they're
Got.
tied
Yep.
in. There's
Yep.
continuity of care where they never were pushed out of the room and lost that connection.
Yeah. Okay.
And of course, every EMS administrator is like, oh my God, there's liability. What if we did something wrong?
Mm.
Well, first of all, don't do anything wrong.
Right.
Um, Two, review your cardiac arrest to make sure you're not. And here's what's really weird. When you look at the raw data, that most people who get to witness their family's cardiac arrest don't sue.
Okay. All right.
That's raw. There's some,
Yeah.
outliers there.
Sure. Sure.
But barring any negligence, gross
Mm.
negligence, people go, I saw you tried your very best. I saw you're
Yes.
sweaty and
Okay.
you're tired and there's firemen just dripping sweat doing CPR. But they can see that connection that we're trying to make with their family member, doing whatever we can
Yeah.
to do. And then we go, okay, you've completed your protocols and you can't do anything else. And some agencies have to call a doctor, but they've done everything they're supposed to do.
Right. Right.
And they tell the family, we're done. But they're in the room. And I've seen that happen locally where,
Mm.
no joke, I felt like I was in an arena. The family said,
Yeah.
can I watch? And I said, yes, of course. I was the lead paramedic. And I said, sure, if you want to watch, just understand it's very graphic. And they said, no, we understand. I said, okay. No joke. I heard people dragging metal chairs across the floor. And I was like, well, what was that? There was three
Yeah.
of them sitting behind me, like in a theater watching us. And I was like,
Wow.
hey, how are you? Good. Hey.
This is different.
But it was very weird. But here's where it gets,
Yeah.
I guess I saw what we did. The patient was transported to the hospital. They did
Yep.
die. We saw the family later in the hallway with another patient. And the first thing they said was, thank you so much for letting us be there at the end. So
Mm.
to me, that was that
Yeah.
key to the lock, that it is a good thing.
Yeah. I
And it's a
I
good thing for
yeah.
us too.
Yes. I think man, you just keep dropping so much. I haven't even got to the questions I wanted to
I'm
ask, which is
sorry. I'm
perfect. No,
sorry.
no. Brother, no, this is great stuff. I feel one thing I can say for our neck of the woods as far as death notifications is, generally speaking, our PD does handle it. However,
Okay.
I'll use fire service specifically. There could
Yeah.
come a time that I'll use me, well, I won't use anybody specifically. Let's
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
say a member passes in the line,
Yeah.
during active duty. We are going to have to be the ones that go make that notification.
Yeah.
And so we
Some
have to,
chief,
so
some battalion chief, somebody
yes, somebody has to go and,
knock on the door.
let somebody know that they walked out, but they're not going to be walking back in. And so this is huge. I think the AHA definitely is on to something with that. And the other thing that you really brought up that really stuck a ton with me was, and one thing that I really love a lot is data. The raw,
Yeah.
raw data, verified data. To me, we have so much information at our fingertips now because of data research, and the fire service is So where EMS is ahead of the fire service, I think, is in data collection and um what do you want to call it? Research and development
Yeah.
stuff. Because
So like
like we're
ESO,
finally
yeah. I mean, like Firehouse, of course, has been around forever. Firehouse,
yeah.
the program.
Yes.
I'm
Yep.
not boo booing them, but Firehouse has been around forever.
Sure.
Now they've upgraded though. They've adapted. They've gotten plugins. They've gotten EMS data collection. They have really upgraded their systems to be more modern, and especially
Yes.
for the fire rescue departments that do heavy transports. And so like you said, EMS though, don't forget the only reason EMS is data driven is because it's monetary.
Mm.
If we are
Okay.
not
Sure.
documenting correctly, we're not getting paid.
Yep.
Where fire service doesn't have to get paid because they are getting paid.
Oh,
So to give you an example, if an ambulance doesn't document correctly, say they did care fine, but their
yeah.
way they
Yep.
documented was not what Medicare, the insurance company, whoever doesn't agree with your flow chart or how you describe the scene, they would say, well, I'm not going to pay for it.
Yep. Okay. Yeah.
And where the fire service goes and puts the fire out, they're tax funded.
Mm.
Even if they Even if somebody was deceased in the fire, had nothing to do with the fire department, just somebody died in the fire, they don't take away your taxes.
Gotcha.
So
Yeah.
with the fire department, they don't have to really have the data. Yes, they're
Mm.
catching up. Yes, they're doing more. Yes,
Yeah.
there's more of it out there, but for them, it's really product development.
Okay.
Like,
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, think about where you are in New England, traditional fire departments,
Right.
Boston Fire, New York City Fire. If you don't have a mustache by the time you're a firefighter, then you can't be on the truck. I mean, you just
Exactly. Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
oh, you can't grow one? No, I'm sorry, you can't be on this department. I mean, and if you're a captain and it doesn't come all the way down, then are you really a captain? And I mean, I know that's sometimes a stereotype, but there's some truth to
Okay.
every
Yeah.
stereotype,
I
right?
hear you. Yep.
But how many of your departments in your area would ever wear the English European fire helmet?
None. Nope.
None.
100%
Why?
zero. Yep.
Why?
Because of tradition.
Because of
Yep.
tradition, but all the evidence proves it's a safer helmet. It does more for our protection. I can integrate all my radios inside. It has
Sure.
my tick built into it from the company, not having a postmark it.
Right.
Everything's
Right.
there. And I can have a full beard and it doesn't screw up my SDBA.
Yeah. No, it's true.
Right.
It's what's the saying? 200 years of tradition unimpeded by progress. Right.
Yeah. I mean, where EMS doesn't have that luxury, where all of our data is driven by monetary factors at time.
Yeah.
Now, that's part of the problem where in my area, Madison County, Alabama,
Hmm.
our EMTs start about the same pay as Chick-fil-A workers.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So
Holy moly.
16-ish dollars an hour ish.
Oh my word.
There's a little variant there. But,
Yeah.
think about that when people say, well, why can't you pay them more? Just pay them $20 an hour and they'll work for you longer.
Right.
And the reason why is because all of ambulance transports in the country are based off Medicare reimbursement.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't matter how much I pay you, the passionate leader, to be my $25 an hour best EMT I own.
Sure.
And you go, well, great. He's getting $25 an hour. And you go, but my cost for running this call is $27 an hour.
Yep.
And you go, well, sorry. And so almost every
That's a
ambulance
valid
service
point.
in the
Yeah.
country is in a negative.
Yep.
And that's why so many fire departments originally got into the business of ambulance services because they could bill whatever they want and got paid.
Mm.
And that's why if you notice a lot of fire companies are getting away from the ambulance because they can't bill as high as they used to. And so they're
Right.
not it's not the money making machine that it once was in the 90s.
That's true. There's
So
Yep.
until we figure out how to make reimbursement better and higher, you really can't pay more.
That's true. You
Yeah,
you can't you cannot negate facts that
right.
again are collected because of everything is money driven. That's a solid point because there was a department out in our seacoast area that was exploring the possibility of charging an automobile insurance company similar to how we charge medical insurance
Right.
companies if our extrication tools had to be
A-
used. If they came
Absolutely.
off the rig and they got used, then we were going to bill, State Farm
Yeah.
or,
X amount of money.
insert. Yeah, exactly. And I don't know how successful they've really been with it because not all calls need extrication tools. And now
Right.
you get down to that nitty gritty of, are we now pulling them off more because we're trying to? So I don't know really where it sits. We've gone as far as toying with the idea during officers meetings, but never really actually dove deep because, again, now you're going to start playing they're going to want to fight and be like, well, where does it say in your SOPs and SOGs that for this particular accident with this particular amount of, impact that you have to use your tool, whatever the case is.
Right. And
Because,
heavy tools versus a Halligan
ye-
tool.
right. Because there was a moment in time where previous administration felt that a Halligan, well, it's extrication. And I'm like, well, yeah, we're popping the hood, but I mean, we're not pulling the jaws of life off the rig to pop it. But man, this has been, wow. What I mean, the fact that we're already, tickling on an hour. I think I want to finish off
Sure.
with
Absolutely.
something that I think will not only help, my listeners, your listeners, but people out there. We'll talk about the NREMT for a little bit. So
Sure.
the the adaptive learning, the 50% are right, but they're only, 100%, when you teach and stuff, what have you found have been some really good tips and tricks that have really helped students and, colleagues kind of get through the challenges that come with getting your licensing, and or at
I
least
I think one of the
specifically that.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest issues that people have where they say, the test wasn't what I thought it was going to be,
Hmm.
or the questions
Same.
weren't like what we had in class, or it didn't follow any guidelines that I was reviewed. And I tell
Sure.
part of that is instructor prep,
Mm.
meaning so I'm working on my doctorate
Okay.
and in emergency management with a focus in EMS.
Yeah.
Well, one of my theses that I haven't got approved yet is should EMS instructors be working at the level they're teaching? Okay, so if you're a paramedic
Okay.
instructor, you should be working as a paramedic.
Yeah. I like that.
Okay,
Yep.
so in my community we have community colleges, we have the fire college, we have a private EMS school, all approved by the state, all everything's
Mm.
on the up and up, and
Sure.
many of those people have not been on an ambulance for over 20 years.
Solid
So
point.
how could they ever prepare you to take a
Mm.
modern day adaptive test? So
Yeah.
what NREMT does for their instructors that want to participate, you can go to different conferences, you can go to different webinars, you can go to different things, and they will tell you exactly how they write the questions. They'll
Oh,
they even invite EMS instructors from around the country to join in once or twice a year to help them vet questions.
really? I did not
Yeah,
know
so
that.
you
That's
yeah,
hilarious.
Yeah, so you learn how they vet the questions, you learn how they write the questions, and I also tell people the number one thing is you have to read the book. You
Yes. Sure.
people like, I watched the 110 slides. No, I need you to read the book. And everyone's like, no, I need the cliff notes. I'm like, you asked me a question. This is the answer I'm telling you. If you want to
Right.
pass National Registry, you have to read the book front to back.
Mm. That's a good
And
point.
they're like, no,
Yep.
no, but I read the slides, and you don't understand that I'm an auditory learner. Okay, put it on ebook and
Yeah.
listen to it page by page. Because but National Registry, no joke. As a program manager, I would get emails almost on a quarterly basis that says, hey, Rick, don't forget webinar next week. We're going to go over question formulation. We're going to go over test creation. We're
Mm.
going to go over program management and how the National Registry thinks you should teach the course. So they're not telling you how to, like curriculum building. They're telling you these are the
Yeah.
things we're going to test you on. These are the things that are going to be on the test. Make sure you cover these things to be on the test. Because
Gotcha.
the things I hate
Yeah.
to hear is people say, well, real life is different than the book. And I tell people that is not true.
Right.
We make it different.
Mm.
If you take ACLS, AHA, ASHE, whoever you want to take, doesn't matter. Even the American Red Cross now does PALS. So
Okay. Yep.
if you take any of them and you go, well, the book says we give epi every 3 to 5 minutes, and you're like, that is absolutely correct. So how's that different in the field? Well, that's just no. We change things because it's easy
Yeah. Right. Right. Right.
and because we cut corners, and then we go, I don't know why the patient didn't live.
That's a
Well,
good
I
point.
do
Yeah, I love
because you changed what the book said. But to answer
it.
that question, and final question is, you have to read the book.
Mm,
You have to take EMS education, and I'm not saying because, like you said, it take a couple times for you to pass. I'm not
yeah.
afraid to say that I recently took, well, almost a year ago, I took the FBC test, the flight test,
Okay.
and I took a prep class, in-person prep class. I read the book. I did a online, I bought one of those packages that you see advertised all the time,
Yep.
and I failed the test by 2 points.
Oh man.
And I thought I took it really seriously. Like,
Yeah.
I was studying an hour a day on shift. I was doing everything I could to pass the test.
Right.
And it just goes to show that I wasn't reading the book enough.
Yep.
Well, I went to the class, I can do it. And even a guy with 20 years experience that teaches this for a living, if you don't do it and you don't read the book and you don't do what they say to do, you're
Mm.
not going to pass the test. But I would encourage people that there's so many good tools on the market right now to prep you for the test.
Mm-hmm.
And if you notice, all the apps on the phones now that have like Medic Test and all the others that are out there,
Sure.
those questions are exactly like National Registry. Like,
Mm-hmm.
exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
And I
Yeah.
tell
Yeah.
people, yeah, don't take the test until you're getting 85% on one of those apps
Right.
or
Yeah.
systems,
Yep.
or, and don't walk in there cold, be like, hey, I graduated and I'm going to knock this question out.
Yeah.
Don't forget the best passing rate is 17 days after they graduate class.
17 days. Okay.
Yeah,
I
there's a
like that.
bell curve that if you look on the National Registry data, say you graduated EMT school January 1st, the very highest number of people pass is within the 17-day mark, and it bell curves up. So like there's actually
Yeah.
a, a, a low failure rate at the beginning, and then about 17 days out, it peaks and then it goes back down.
Okay. Yeah.
And that's almost across the board, EMR, EMT, advanced,
Huh.
because the advanced has like a nationwide pass rate of less than 60%.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
And
yeah.
yeah, it's crazy low.
I know for me, the first time I took it, I was as soon as I got into the testing center, I I didn't even know what to expect.
Yeah.
I studied for it like I do for my fire stuff,
Yeah.
stats and
Yep.
numbers,
Yep.
and I
Graphs and charts.
yes. So when I pull up and every single question is scenario based, I'm like,
Yeah.
what the hell am so, and it's funny because honestly, had I actually just kind of collected my thoughts and be like, well, the numbers.
Yeah.
No, long story short, bombed the first round.
Okay.
And then, of course, I used YouTube, and I was like,
Yeah.
take your time, read the
Yep.
questions. So the next round, I took my time and I timed out, didn't get it. And
Okay.
but the
You ran
fine,
out. Yeah.
yeah. So the final one that did it for me, and I mean, for my listeners and anybody that
Yeah.
listens to me, go on rants on Sunday nights on my lives on TikTok, is I'm not a huge acronym fan, but
Okay.
I did find one that worked for me, and if there's anybody listening or whoever listens and they're taking their test, I can't say that it's exactly what helped me, but it certainly made me feel more confident. Was the acronym VOMIT, and I don't know if you've ever heard the acronym VOMIT
Yeah.
before,
Absolutely.
and it basically boiled down to whatever information was not given was the answer to the test that you needed to give. So
Hmm.
if I remember right, and correct me if I'm wrong, so because I don't want to trip up the listeners and get people who had the wrong path, but it was so VOMIT is vitals, oxygenation, medications, intervention, and transport.
That is a
And
common vomit I've heard. Yes.
so, like I said, I don't know, my man, if that actually is what helped me, or if it just
Yeah.
gave me that little bit of confidence, or it was blind luck, because I've certainly been born a recipient of that before. So,
Yeah.
but
Sometimes it's
it
better to be
worked.
lucky than smart.
And it was so easy because like the first question I did it. I got in. I'm like, okay, vomit. I wrote it down on the little dry
Yep.
erase sheet that they give you,
Yep.
and it was this scenario runs out, and it was like everything except for the medications that we could give. I'm like, well, I mean, it was an EMT, you can only give blah blah
Yeah.
blah.
Yeah.
That was the answer, and
Yep.
before I know it, I know I'm clicking away, and the ones that really tripped me up the worst were, I had 2 cardiac arrest event ones, and it was a male or a female, same presentation, and I'm like, "Man, did I get that last one wrong, or did I get it right?" I'm like, "I feel confident that I got it right." So I went with it, and then next thing you know, like, the blue screen of death showed up, and I'm like, "Oh, boy." So it's daunting, but to the
It
listeners,
is.
vomit worked well for me,
Yep.
and like Rick said, guys, definitely make sure you're reading the books, you're using, and there's a plethora of
Yeah.
resources out
There's
there.
so many out there that aren't expensive.
Yeah.
I mean, they aren't,
Yeah,
they
no,
aren't
100%.
thousands of
Yeah.
dollars. Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome, my man. Well, listen, I've taken up a lot of your time today. I do
That's
appreciate
okay.
us being able to reschedule. Um, hang on, I had something here that I wanted to get to. So, how can our guests get a hold of you, and what are your goals for 2026?
So my goals for 2026 are both short and long term. Short term is take the United States of America and get me to come to your agency and do a couple days, possibly a week, depending how big your agency is. Tribal, national, federal, whoever you can get permission from your chief from. That I want to come and do lives, TikToks, interview your crews, and give nothing but positive feedback or to the public. Give them a good show and it will help me explore, it'll help you
Mm,
explore, and it will hopefully ignite the public's passion that we need for EMS to grow in a positive
yeah.
manner. And long term, I'd love to go international. So if anybody knows a striker rep or a teleflex rep, I will wear some t-shirts from some teleflex. So but the easiest way to get a hold of me is prioritymedicaltraining@gmail is my email that goes to all my devices. And of course, they could always send me a message on TikTok or Instagram, and I'm easily foundable. Priority Medical Training on Instagram and the Motivated Paramedic on TikTok.
I love it. How did you come up with the name Motivated Paramedic?
Um, because people tease me because I'm always happy,
Okay,
and
sure.
no matter, people actually sometimes get mad that I'm happy. Like
Doesn't that
they're
make you
like,
happier?
it does because I always tell them, it's, I hate to quote somebody, but if you look it up, it's really good. It's called Chief Tecumseh.
Okay.
And there's something that if you Google his death poem or his death song,
Mhm.
he talks about no matter who you approach, you give them a sign of salute, even if it's a stranger. So I take that
Mm.
as whether friend or foe, whether I don't like you at the fire department or I think you're a
Sure.
butthole, um, I'm still going to say hi.
I love it.
And that's okay. That's the way I survive.
Oh, great stuff. Great stuff. I'll finish off with the last question that I give everybody.
Yep.
And that it's for firefighters listening who are just starting either their leadership journey or their journey in, whether it be EMS, fire service, public service in general.
Yeah.
What would be your one unadulterated piece of advice to keep them grounded in their mission?
As a leader,
A leader, or even just a brand new member into our cadre, I should say.
it's so easy to say, well, stay humble and all this stuff that people want to give some platitudes and they want to like make it so generalized. I think it's got to be specific. You've got to never stop trying to get better at your job.
Mm,
And from the 19-year-old Proby firefighter to the 19-year-old Proby EMT, um, you can't just say, well, I got my cert, I'm here.
mm,
I know in the fire service, many agencies, they can't do a lot of things for the first 6 months because they're being trained or taught or and
yep,
like that.
yep.
Where a lot of EMTs, they don't have that chance because you're like, hey, you're on the truck, go. Um, you
Mm,
know, but you can't just understand that in the EMS world or the fire world, our environments change in 6 months. There's a new product on the market.
yeah,
And I know the fire side is just as product driven as we are. Like, hey, have you seen this cool thing? It saves people's lives.
right.
We got a new, you have to have this kind of spanner wrench in your pocket or it doesn't work. There's a new rip bag. There's a new this. Well, EMS is the same way. We
Yep.
have this, this Life Pack 35 we have to own, or the Philips Tempest we have to have.
Mhm.
But all of those products come with you having to learn more and get more data out of your patients so you can treat them better. So
Amen.
whether you're fire, EMS, even law enforcement, I think as a new person in the job, obviously stay humble, listen to your seniors, but also don't be intimidated by your seniors if you think they're doing something wrong.
Mm.
And I'm not saying jump up there and tell them that you're an idiot, but be like, hey, sir, I noticed this happened. Is this right? And if they yell at you for that, they yell at you for that.
Yeah.
But if
Yep.
you're right, hopefully they have enough humbleness in their own to say, you're absolutely right. And I'm happy that you didn't make a big deal about it, but I'm glad we talked about it. But think about like in EMS, we have a medication check, we call it, where my EMTs draw up almost all of my medications.
Okay. Yep.
And they do that in front of me, of course. There's not like any hidden agenda, but hey, draw this medication up and we're verifying it. And you're verifying it, I'm verifying it. It's the right
Mm.
patient, the right drug. But all of that comes with don't stop learning. And if you're a leader,
I love it.
stop being, for a second, when you get your new leadership job, don't forget where you came from because it's so easy to disappear into the office. And those of you who follow me on TikTok, I do a lot of leadership posts on that, specifically
Yep.
EMS.
Sure.
But, the biggest problem is that we forget how to be a provider.
Mm.
And a leadership in the fire department or leadership in the PD is when you become a leader, you have to remember you're no longer an operator.
Mm.
You're a person who takes care of the people who take care of the people. And that means taking care of your people. That doesn't mean, that could be mental health, that could be professional, that could be, hey, the passionate leader wants to really go to a class. And yes, it costs money. It sure does.
Mm.
But I can't send you this year, but next year you're going.
Love it.
Okay.
Yep.
So that's my thoughts.
Oh, that is an amazing way to end. It's a good conversation, folks, when I never got to any of the pre-boiled questions that I had. Rick, my man, thank you so much for your time.
You are
For
welcome.
the audience out there, thank you for spending time with us today on the Passionate Leader podcast. If something today hit home, don't just sit with it, share it. Please be sure to follow the Passionate Leader and the Motivated Paramedic across all platforms and be part of the and be part of the conversation every Sunday night, 8 p.m. on TikTok Lives on the Passionate Leader. This is the place where leadership meets the kitchen table and real talk fuels real change. If you're serious about the movement, please also consider subscribing to our Patreon page that helps fuel something much larger. Importantly, guys, be the kind of leader someone else is praying for. And no matter what comes your way, always remember this: lead with passion, serve with humility, and leave no room for bottom feeders. Until we see each other again next time, guys, stay safe.